Hello, my ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people of the internet. My name is Whelsko, and today we are gonna take another look at a strategy session. We're gonna break down a recent game that I had, which basically was a almost near perfect ending. One of the best you can have, especially if you know how to play them. And if you combine that with a little bit of good aim, you will always be the better man, and you will always go for the victory. Now, that being said, the hardest part about it is most likely not being or ending up being greedy. You gotta weigh that down, you gotta be a little bit careful with that, because of course, when you are in a very comfortable position, or then you more likely get sloppy, then you most likely tend to miss some things. So we decided to drop downtown, and as you know, it's a companion video to a gameplay, which again will be linked up there-ish there. So it starts out with some early game downtown. You know, you gotta have some fun in the game. It's all fine and good to basically loot the first 10 minutes of the game, but then again, you know, if then it's a 50-50 fight and you will lose that fight, then there isn't much fun to be had. And if that happens a little bit too much, I can understand why some people might get pissed. Now, that being said, of course, doesn't always happen. And the early game isn't that perfect, and it has some issues, let's say, but we still managed to get through it. But it's in the later moments of the game where we will definitely see. Also, I will just point out how absolutely horrible the FAMAS is. This thing with burst, it's absolute trash. You guys can't see it, but let me go aside. That gun, you probably know which one I mean. It's the worst. It's absolutely the worst. That doesn't go well. Now, as you can see here, there's basically at least one in this building, and we are with 3 people. Now we gotta be a little bit careful because we are not having enough HP.
In this door.
What do I do?
Probably.
Oh, open the door just for a close peek. This allows us to basically the second guy to come in peeking, because now we are here and 2 guys are here. So that means that we have both sides covered of the door, which is always handy. It's not entirely a crossfire, but it definitely comes in handy. And one peeking, of course, because in this game, peeking with 2, I don't know exactly how it works with the bullets and stuff, but basically it's confusing. So letting only one peek. The second guy peeks.
One down.
He downed. So basically, Nido took over as soon as Robin got it down. So that's super nice. And of course get it down, because one of the things in this game is basically a fair fight is almost impossible to win. Almost impossible. You always need to make sure like you're a little bit earlier, shooting a little bit earlier or something like that, or it's impossible. Now, we know the other guys are down. I instantly went for the revive on this one, so that means that the other guy will be up any second now. So what do? Full push in, and in game I completely missed this dude, but that's why we are with a team. I don't know if you can spot it here, this guy. It's very hard to see, especially, you know, he's using a good advantage of the colors in the game and the lighting. So that's very good of him, but I keep jumping. Now, that guy is distracted, and as you can see, he starts shooting towards my direction. Which is okay, just, you know, keep going in, because don't forget that my 2 homies are right behind, jumping in. So instantly spray, hip fire with Uzi, make a lot of jumps. That guy was, of course, the guy that we saw get down. Oh. Let's see. Yep. Nah, it's kind of hard to see, but based on sounds, I try to hear it from the left. And of course, the termite. That termite actually might have saved us the game, because that third guy got absolutely shredded from that. And boom, complete team wipe with almost 0 loss. And as you can see here, my crew did most of the heavy lifting, but I was a distraction, so that's always nice to hear. But the termite, as you can see, did a lot of damage. Generally speaking, termites are actually not that good, but in some cases the termite can do actually quite, you know, it basically, if you place it somewhere, people can't go over it, or they are knocked. And if you place, they will take damage. Knocked is a little bit of a high ball to go. Here is another example of why I always tend to go for the high grounds in the in the downtown area. Being on the high ground gives you so much advantage. And as you can see here clearly, my mate was down. You can see it clearly, but he was like all the way 37 meters straight below. So that means this building is 37 meters high. The more you know. And of course, that's a simple crossfire. It's like if this is the enemy, the blue one, and we are yellow, then basically we have set it up like this. So whatever happens, he can't do anything about it. And as you can see, he can't get into any cover from my position. And if you start fighting without having any cover, any position without cover is a bad position. There are some cases where that's don't follow that rule, but 99% of the cases always need cover, always, because whatever happens, he couldn't do anything here. So high ground again. It's even if you get like sniped from the buildings in downtown, you get knocked and you can just get revived pretty easily. The developers mentioned that they absolutely wanted some power positions in the game, and this is definitely one of those. So a power position is basically whereby, as the name suggests, it's a position of power. It's a position where you basically have a super good advantage. Apparently there's one in our building. This is hard to see, but the dot makes it also quite clear. So that's 2 in 1. So what do we have here? A very good tip is coming up, that I know, because my mate went in alone. That's bad, especially since it takes us at least 3 seconds to hit the ground without getting damage. So he's on his own. And Bob, never try to fall down too close to the building, or you can't open your parachute. So that's another 5 seconds. 2, 3, 4. 5 to 6 seconds is a revive. I don't know the exact time, which is not the best. Here I heard some footsteps. I got him. Let's listen. You're alone? Outside? That was the one in the right. Here. Okay, that's again triple fire. So good. Here the Nido is fighting the guy in the corner over here. He knocks him. This is where I made my first big mistake of the game, and that's this one. One here, very low. And what is the mistake that you might be asking? Because in a lot of cases, I went for the thirst instead of actually focusing on the guy that was left. And I could have seen him, or I should have seen him, let's put it there, as soon as I went down. But of course, I was so focused on thirsting that I didn't do, because as you can see here, I cracked him and then I had 2 or 3 bullets, so let's say 1 or 2 bullets away from death. And now we have to chase him. But of course we do that together. We can't go far, so he's most likely there in the corner. Like, you gotta keep in mind, he only has 2 seconds of, or 2 seconds around of what you call it, on the road ahead. So he can't go far, so he's either at the, I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, this tower thingy. I'm a millennial, okay? I have no clue how that, what that thing's supposed to be, and of course he peeks here, and me and Nido both peek. And he apparently had no plates, so I shouldn't have gone for the thirst. A major rule: if you go for the thirst, in most cases, unless you go for some, like the Twitch tournaments, they need to have kills and stuff. So that maybe not entirely the case, but in most cases, if you have to thirst in order to get rid of them, you are not in control of the fight. You are not in control when you have to thirst. For one simple reason: if enemies will be confused, and they will, as long as they are breeding, they will keep fighting. So if you can put them in, back them in such a corner that they have to keep fighting, or that at least try to fight. And that's with fighting, I mean not just shooting, but also communicating with their team. They're like, oh, he's there, he's there, something like that. And you can also have, of course, the frustrated cases, or that are like, God damn it, why is he shooting me? Blah blah blah. Like, the more you keep that in line, the more basically you keep the rage filled in, and only 10% of the people will actually be like, oh yeah, I just got knocked. Oh yeah, there's a guy over there. Oh, he knocked me. Oh wow, he's a good shooter. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Yeah, of course, we see another case of why it's important to outrun the zone, even early on. Very important. But luckily, we are in a river which kind of gives some cover in this case. There aren't many spots that people will be that shoot us from. Naturally, we always, of course, have like even from these hills, like at yellow, you can't really see that much. So the only places that really can be is like at blue, or in the river itself, or if they come through the edge, or like this. And that doesn't really happen that much, because those are like, why would you go in the open on the bridge to expose yourself? That's a very ballsy play. That's a bad position to be in. Here we have way too much money and no loadout. Now, I think I skipped ahead here. Yeah, I skipped ahead here. We took the loadout. There was absolutely no problem crossing. Here, of course, we have the Jeep coming in. You most likely should have seen it on the minimap. Now, in-game spotting such things is a little bit harder, but that's okay. And of course, we take some quick pot shots. Should we do that in this case? Not really, especially since we that this guy's alone. I miss C4, miss the angle. Oh, very nice shot. So pick C4 up again. If you do it like this, be careful, because the C4 to pick up and to detonate is basically the same button. And of course, my brother Nido downs him here. Yeah, I downed him and I finished him off. Now we have to be careful, because we're in a position very bad. We have to go all the way like this. And at, there's might be open field here and open field here. That's, it goes like up. So that's a very thin line of all open fields that we have to cross, and we have no plates, and one more no plate. And look at that cash. In this game, having cash is a bad idea, always. One, for the simple fact that if you die, like 20% of your cash is just completely gone. 50% get drops, and 30% you get to keep. Something around those numbers. They might not be entirely correct, but you don't, you don't have too much cash at hand in the later circles. So, first thing we have to do, no matter what, is get a buy station.
It's a freebie if I ever saw one.
Get a buy station, get some plates. Nothing else matters. No loadout, no self-revives, no UAVs, no whatever. If you can't, having a self-revive is nice, but if you can't fight properly because you don't have any armor, then what's the point of a self-revive?
First thing you do is buy plates, no matter what. I don't give a shit what the economics are.
Well, I have to listen to myself. That's the thing. Like, even if it's like, oh yeah, but if we, don't buy plates, then we can buy another loadout. No, that's not how it works. Like, you can't fight with all of your loadout gear and have no plates left. That's not how that game is the game is played. So, again, if you really wanted the companion, the video will be up linked in the will have been linked by now. So you can always check that one out. But again, very clean, not too much happened. We make sure that at least we have some plates. I go a little bit further with the scouting. Of course, we have the 8 micro thingy coming in at the southeast corner. Generally speaking, not a good or bad thing. He's going for the buy station. Of course, we gotta keep aim. And look, this is what you gotta pay attention. Vehicles, when there's nobody in them, will be on the map. when they are red, they will disappear on the big map and only appear on the mini map. Now, you can basically spot across movement across map if you look at, for example, this station. Let's say I wasn't aiming at it for once, and I go across map, and then 10 seconds later I look again at that map and there's no car left. Then that means there an enemy has left the buy station with the car. Now, I have a little bit of a forward position over here. It's I would say at least 50 meters. That's good and bad. This is a very interesting situation. Basically, he was standing right next to me. And of course, we gotta have that frustration and that rage. And that's what I meant with downing people with frustration and rage. Because like I'm a victim of it too. Well, victim. I do it myself. But I'm just saying, like, look, I'm like, acting a little bit like child, raging. And whether my teammates, their sounds get interrupted or not as pure, let's say, and they can't focus as good as if I were to basically shut my mouth and be like, okay. And as you can see, now, generally speaking, don't know what these two were doing. But that seems to be a miscommunication, because I would assume that one was looking at them. Now he's gonna finish me, that guy. Two guys are aiming at him, so a very dangerous call. Now I can make it out. I mean, if the guy didn't throw a C4, I would have made it out alive. So, again, I got caught out in a position. That was ballsy play, standing there like that. Also, the audio in this game is so weird. So weird. Like, he was literally standing next to me. So, was he camping there? Was he crouch walking all the way to me? Was he, I didn't hear anything in the game, and that I can remember clearly. That makes the audio a little bit messed up. So, and then of course the Magnum Gulag fight. I for one am actually somebody who actually likes the Magnum to fight with, but here I kind of missed my shot. Luckily I wasn't the only one, and at the end that was a clear fight where I made less mistakes, but still enough. I made enough of mistakes, but I made less mistakes than the other guy, and that's what allowed me to win. And of course then take it. The sooner it gets done, the better. And now I of course can get Ghost. Because the buddies bought a second loadout and they didn't have to buy me back. That allowed them to buy a second loadout in order to get Ghost instead of Overkill. So, but in my case it really didn't matter, because I just had access to the guns that I needed, because that I wanted thanks to Overkill. So that didn't really matter. And in this case it would be the AUG 556 and the Sniper HDR. Generally speaking, HDR, just aim down, sight speed, everything else doesn't matter. Monolithic suppressor, the Barrel Pro, the first one that you unlock, and of course tac laser, and of course the Stalker Scout stock, and then you can pick for your fifth whatever you like. And of course we do Recon. Very nice. We did a Recon, we instantly picked up another Recon as soon as possible. And one more thing that I want to note, when you have stuff like this, they basically, like, these hills are 400 or 500 meters away. And while that is quite a lot and not really necessary to be scared of per se, if you're standing still, you're kind of asking for it to be sniped. So if somebody is like 500 meters away and like 3 or 4 people are like, oh, there's a Recon there, because you can see it pretty far up, I think, across map. That's why you see me here bunny hopping a little bit. Instant Recon. Recons are power. And of course, we're already at the third circle, you gotta keep that in mind. Now, this is a very interesting one. We now know the layout of the circle. It has very minimal buildings. I wish there was a replay mod, and this would all be a lot clearer. But can't have too much. There's one team camping here. That's something we know. This is a very, I wouldn't say a bad angle, but how do I best put it? Like, this area, all at blue, ish. It's not exact. You can only get up from here, here, and here, if I'm not mistaken. That's the... Okay, that's not entirely clear. Here, here, here. Because the blue area is like a mountain area, and yeah, and that blue... It's not entirely precise. I'm sorry for the... my drawing skills aren't the best with this mouse. But generally speaking, like to get up there, you can only get through those on foot. Of course, if you have a chopper, then that doesn't matter that much. Then you can just fly in. But that's a very, very important keynote, because those are the zones. You don't want to be late for that. You want to be 2 or 3 circles ahead of the curve. And look, we have one more of these circles. We're gonna do another recon. The recons, that's why the recons are so powerful. Especially, you know, the later you take one, or the more you take one, or the later circles the recon is for. It's not as good when you basically do, you know, the first zone hasn't hit and you do one recon. Now, if it's free cash, it's free cash, you know, for those 15 seconds with the squad to stand still on a position, you know. That's worth it, and you know a little bit more about the circle. But the later the game gets, the more valuable they naturally become. And of course, we go do the recon. Now, as you see me here, that tower, when the choppers were removed, I didn't see as much traffic. But almost always, as soon as the first circle is passed, which it has, there's almost always somebody camping and watching around. Always. It's one of those things. It's also almost you can only go up with a cable, so that makes it basically impossible to get to except with a chopper, and pushing with a chopper is already difficult. So that's why basically I'm watching, I'm holding. Again, this is a very crowded area, and of course, so we are gotta be mindful. Now, the airstrip, generally speaking, not a lot of people will walk in the open like that all the way, so we don't have to be that mindful. But southwest, south, and the air tower are of course the important parts. This gives it everything. As soon as I knew, as soon as I saw this one, wait, let's basically, so we are like here in a little box. People will be pushing in from here, from here, from here, trying to get across here. So basically trying to cross, or they go like this, either one. But you know, having a recon that basically guarantees a very good kill. So this is the moment of truth. Why am I so hyped about this circle? Well, basically, I'm gonna have to annotate a little bit. Let's oof, as you hear it quite clearly. So we got there's a lot of explaining to do. This also happens if you know the map. Well, if you don't know the map, or you are not as experienced with all the hooks, crannies, and secret passageways into this map, then you most likely will not, you know, then you can be expected to know. But as soon as you have like 100 hours, 200 hours, stuff like this should become second nature almost. Now, what do we have here? This zone is very interesting. To basically put it simple, we're gonna take in black line. Zoof, zoof. This is the rocky area inside the circle. I'm gonna draw this a little bit further. Okay, so the black line is basically it's almost impossible to come up. There's 3 ways again to come up. One is Jesus, I'm not the best at drawing. So one is here, one is here, and one is here. The issue is, however, if we were to stand on blue, which is a very high point, that means that there's very few options. Either they push at the middle yellow here, or they will push from the south. Either way, we will see them coming, or from the north. But you know, we basically they have to walk or run 100 meters, and we get to basically for free shoot anything in sight. Like, that's what makes this position so powerful. Like this, these pads, the pink ones, like that's 100 meters. That basically somebody, a squad of 3 can shoot freely at you. Like that's a lot. That's a whole lot. 100 meters in basically an open field with a squad watching over. Or you could push the yellow one, which of course, that's another dangerous one. So generally speaking, what would people do is the buy stations in the zone is always a good idea if you have the later circles. As you can see, we still have some money left in the bank, but generally speaking, those are very good spots. So, and then of course, naturally, somebody's going to sit in here. Always. As soon as the first circle has started.
Let's go.
But as you, I don't know if this is a little bit clearer to see the pads, but as you can clearly see, basically as soon as we have blue, we basically have the whole area of black covered. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out without us at least seeing them if we pay a little bit of attention. And yeah, so that's quite the advantage, wouldn't you say? And of course, knowledge is power. We know more about this zone than anybody else. And of course, if you know where this zone is going to be first, yeah, that's a very good sign.
Oof, let's go.
As soon as I said that, oof, let's go, I knew it was going to be a win. So that the next thing would be to basically get to the correct position, because don't forget that 100 meters that we have to cross, that people have to cross to get to that position, we also need to cross to get to that position. So, you know, the early bird gets the worm, I think the expression is. And that's why it's important. Now we take a pot shot and we take the UAV. The UAV is of course to clear out the way and get information and knowledge about what is going on in the... basically it's to secure our pad. And of course my buddy downed one crossing the street, crossing the strip, and then of course I cheeky finished him. Now, the tower, always check the tower, because now is a basically from here until this is an open field. Like the pink line is an open field, and that's, I would say, a good 150 meters. And 150 meters is again a distance you rather not do without cover. Sometimes you have to. As long as nobody's watching, it's perfect. And as you can probably see, the guys were doing a recon side. Unfortunately for them, we did a better one.
Everybody by self-revive again?
And we played 2 hours straight to the position.
Okay.
Something that I see being done wrong in almost any battle royale. The zone matters, position matters, that stuff matters all so much. Because the shooting is, being able to shoot is one thing, but being able to win, entirely different story. Here, of course, we take a little bit of high ground to hold the back, which is dangerous because the air traffic control tower has now a clear view on us, which is bad. Then I'm checking around green to check sure that we, of course, have the spot of earlier, that we have that. And of course, here is a live ping. One of the reasons pings are so broken, they patched it. So that basically it even stays behind cover. And of course, team wipe. Very cheeky, very... I mean, the live pings are a little bit too much, to be honest. There's definitely some new protection mechanisms in this game. But the problem is, those mechanisms, a player like me can abuse way more. Like, basically, I knew where he was, like aiming a little bit below the ping. And then of course we have to make sure that we get to the zone. And how do we do that? Well, we travel along the pink line, which is a dangerous line because there's no cover there. So, yeah. And also, of course, we have AGRs. Generally speaking, if more than 50% of the zone is in the open, then you can be goddamn sure it's gonna be you know, an open area. Like if part of it is in the sea, part of it is out the map, and part of it is in farmland, and just a tiny bit is in downtown, 9 out of 10 is gonna be. This is also bad, jumping off the rock. Now I was allowed to make that mistake because nobody was shooting at us. But as you can see here, this is this steep hill that I mentioned. If you go any, you know, Robin is there, and I think like 1 meter, so, you know, let's say, this is like the line. If you cross it, it's no combat zone, and that's 5 seconds and you're outie. So, you know, that's what I mean. Like, if people were down below shooting at us, they would have a hell of a good time, which is not what we want. We want to get safe in the zone. Here,
In front of us.
here, of course, I'm marking to make sure to like to tell the guys, because they, you know, I'm the strategy guy, so already knew basically. I wouldn't say knew, but I was aware of it. So
Here's green, so basically.
here I'm just explaining to the squad like that's the 3 sides that they can come from, which is important because now this is the hill that we have to play. We know it's in the end zone, and of course, those are the other guys with the other hill. But our hill will be in the later circles. Theirs will not. They will probably not know that. They will just think we got in the circle on time. But this is the power of the Recon, being able to make sure that you actually have the upper hand in terms of position. That you win the position battle, not necessarily the shooting battle. Because here I can miss as much as I want. Like I got a cheeky headshot, you know, straight on him because he was standing still, zooming in. Never stand still. Very dangerous. Like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Like, it takes him 10 seconds to crawl to there. He could crawl to there, but that's at least 20 seconds. Or he could crawl like that's at least 15 seconds. So 3 guys with HDRs, which you can only tank 2 bullets off in best case scenario, and you're taking away life, and you have at least 10 seconds to fucking crawl. You can't do shit. And your teammate can cover, but he's getting hit now. So what do? You can't do anything.
Okay.
So that's 1 more kill to the list.
Yeah.
Now we just need.
Also, we have self revives. So if somebody from down below knocks us, very hard to do. And of course, we have extra place. When you want to do this strategy like this, it's always good that before you basically get to the zone, you have enough materials or resources so that you can materials. It's not Fortnite, but you know, deployable shield also helps. Again, these are the ATC guys. They're always there. Is it a good position? Of course, it's one of the best. It's literally the best position in the game, you could say, except for that guys like us basically can watch around and basically shoot them from above. It's like a very steep angle, but it's still an angle, and there's multiple positions like that around the map that can basically watch from that tower. So it isn't all perfect. Like it's balanced, I would say. You know, it's not like they basically took that and made that the most overpowered position in the entire game. Here, apparently, my buddy Nido sniped a guy out of the air with a cheeky headshot. So that's 122 meters. Boink. Good shot of him. Now these are the type of kills that aren't necessary, but we can allow them. You know, we have a little bit of downtime. It's not that we are being pressured into something. Again, like, don't forget, the people that want to come up to us, they can only come. They have to start here. That's where we can, you know, that's where they can start to get up here. So that's 30 seconds plus for 100 meters, which is so much in a game like this, where basically it takes less than a second to down somebody, given you hit your shots a little bit. Not with snipers, it takes a little bit longer, but with ARs, you can do that very close.
Repeat, Charlie. Green is the side that they basically can push up.
Here I'm calling, of course, that the guys below us will push up sooner or later. And of course, the hardest part about this is holding the zone and not being like, oh, there are guys in the ATC tower. Let's keep sniping them. That's of course not what the idea behind it is. Because if you do that, then you get tunnel visioned, and somebody pushes up from behind you. And this is like one of those positions that it's one of the hardest to get snuck up from behind you. So, gotta keep that in mind. And again, position, position, position. We can miss so many shots and still win the battle just because we have the superior position. And of course, we already saw this. Of course, now it's just Sniper Fest. If you do enjoy sniping in this game, this is the moment. And of course, this is one of the things why I love, why position should matter to you so much. Basically, there's a team here and there's a team here, and they're fighting with each other. What is so beautiful about this? They have absolutely zero cover, and we are 3 people aiming at them. So one here, and of course the others are there, and they are shooting each other, and they have no cover from us, and they can't do anything about us. Up, boom, 1 down, 1 guy knocked, another guy, boom, down. Cheeky kills, like if you want to get a high kill game, get a good position, get a little bit of luck, and just shoot at everything you see. And of course, that's just making sure that these guys are also dead. So that's one team behind us. Again, dealt with without us even taking a single damage. They might not even have seen us. Up, another ping. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. What are they gonna do? I mean, they could hide from the tree. Is probably the best shot. There's almost definitely somebody here. And here's the buy station. So either they go around like this, they go to that, or they come all the way like this. Again, that's having to fight the gas, having to fight the teammates. That's multiple sources that you have to fight. We don't have to fight anything at the moment. We can just take shots. Up, miss, don't care. Look at them dance. Up, 1 down. Reloading, no problem. Time enough. Oh man, that's a stressful situation. If you come late in a battle royale, that's a stressful situation. And of course, here we have the next zone. Now the next zone is actually very interesting. With the simple fact, let's see when I pull out the map. It's a very interesting. This line is the train track, and you can only be like, you can climb up it, and it's a high ground position, so that's very nice. Here you can basically only crawl up here and here, so that's covered here. You could like the yellow is basically the area where you can enter, and of course here I only think you can get up from here and here. So what does this allow us to do? And that basically we have also a very clean area as long as we don't get pushed from any of the yellows. That the black one is completely out of sight for any enemies, unless of course the yellow guys push through like this. But that's not the case, so good for us. So, and of course if you hold the yellow lines, like they can't push up to you, and they won't. Nobody wants to push to somebody who's shooting at them. Nobody. Position. So damn important. So believable. But basically, think about it. That means that we use a pink circle. As long as we hold yellow, we have, except this area, we have. Okay, that's the wrong color. We need to make sure nobody's confused. So, but basically, like as long as we have the yellow areas covered, we have 1 completely safe. We have people having to push us through at yellow in the open, and everything that is not blue is completely ours covered. So that I would say is a very good deal. And again, what does this allow? Plus we have the high ground, so that's another benefit. We have so many things going for us in the position, while the enemies have so many things against us in position's sake, that it becomes a little bit too easy.
This is the position that they can.
Where are you shooting, Robin?
Here holding, standing a little bit too much still, trying to strafe, and of course destroy cheeky C4. Oh,
In that building green,
just because you saw an enemy, by the way, it doesn't mean you have to shoot somebody. That doesn't always have to be the case. It's very, you don't. you need to judge a little bit when to shoot and when not, because I can down him here and you know he gets revived and nothing changes. Now luckily,
He's not in the zone.
as I call it inside the game, the house there is not in the zone. So come on, pull the map out. Yeah. So the house is at green, which is basically again not in the zone. This thing is in the zone, the blue area, which is completely other than a few hay bales that you can see here. So that's these. I'll try to color them. Hay bales and this thingy. That's basically the only cover you get. Now, is that a lot of cover to be in with a squad of 3? Nope, especially not if they start shooting RPGs. And again, they are there. And you can say preparation is key, which it is. And sometimes it's unfair, but you know, we did Recon, so we basically got the intel beforehand. They can only go to yellow. Only go to yellow. Or they go around inside the circle to that. So again, that's 2 angles that we have at the moment perfectly covered. And, you know, they have to probably fight a team that's here. And there might come a team that's here that might shoot them. Or a team that's here. Or a team that's here. That's about it. So again, gas, us, possible 2 teams, bad cover. What you gonna do? Basically, the better the position, the more mistakes you're allowed to make. Or the better you were put in the position. And of course, they're fighting because he has a team wipe. He has the right shoulder. Oof, get shot. And this is that black area that I mentioned earlier. That was completely covered unless we had, of course, the back. Here, of course, we go check the back real quick. And what do you know? At green. Boom. Double hit. Me and my buddy teamed that guy. So, again, it's another unfair. If it was a sniper battle, me versus him, that would be an example of a fair fight. I mean, I had the high ground, so I had a little advantage. And, of course, this guy is in the zone. On the minimap, he's exactly at the... wait, let me do that in black. In the black position, if you look here on the minimap. So he's not in the zone. Now he has 2 choices. Either he downs 3 of us, because we 3 are aiming. It's one of the things where you do extremely well. That's 3 guys aiming at you. 0 chance that you get out of there. 0. Up, boom, down. Most likely self-revive. He's behind the corner. Very smart. He's revived. Oh! Oh, that was a nasty shot. As soon as the self-revived is up, instantly I go back to finish the deal. So now we know he's dead. And apparently the other guy was self-reviving in the zone. But like one of the things we do extremely well this position, this game as a team is there is a position that there's a position that we have. There's a flank that we have to hold. We hold that flank together. Like in this case, 3 guys aiming at the same 2 people that have to run an open field away from the gas. That's 2 bad positional calls. And then of course 3 guys shooting at you. That's lost. You can't do anything about it. And that also means our fights take very little hits. And we, very little hits. And we basically make haste of them. How shall I put it? The fights don't last that long. That's very important. Sometimes in Warzone, the fights can last a very, very long time. And that's so bad. That's so bad. Simply because if the fights last that long, then you lose a lot of resources, a lot of time, and most likely a third party is coming in. In this case, I lost my plates and my buddies, Nido only lost half a plate, which is good. I mean, and we have the zone covered. Again, this area on the map is completely, even this is completely covered. That means we have complete control over half of the circle when there's 5 teams left, one of which is, so 4 teams have to share their space, and we get to keep everything at yellow. I mean... You can probably see that if 4 people are like crammed up to each other, 4 teams are crammed up to each other and have to like fight over every single rock, and we are like, rolling deep and taking everything for ourselves, you can see why that is a bad idea for the other team, or for the other teams. And of course, it's very important to hold zone, because while I did say we would have this entire zone, that doesn't mean that there's something behind that, and that's something very important. If you hold the borders, just always look a little bit behind that border, and look at this. They're completely stuck. They can only go around like this. So we have a riot shield, very smart. Absolutely, that's probably the best counter that you can do at this point. 3 guys are aiming. Very good of them. Very good. The riot shield, I'm telling you, is, like, you can say it's a tropic, but I see this as an efficient counter. Like, we couldn't do anything against him. If the other guy had a riot shield, then it might have been the same. Again, the riot shield, like, we can't do shit about it with snipers. Now, we can't do anything either, but, you know. And then, of course, we are, there is a cluster strike on us, so we are forced to push inwards into the next zone. And the next zone is also a very interesting, because, again, this is the only way you can push up. So as long as that nobody pushes up there, we are completely have a safe space in the zone that nobody can touch us. As long as nobody pushes that. Very important. So if one of us gets knocked down, we can simply self-revive in the safe zone, and the other 2 can hold the what do you call it? The gatekeeping. Of course, pushing. They called it in where we stand, which was beautiful. If they called it in where we wanted to stand, then we would have had to fight the gas, them, and we couldn't. We were in the open. We couldn't move then. But in this case, they didn't, which is good for us. Then, of course, cheeky stun. Stun hit. Stun so damn broken. It's like C4. Wonder why. And of course, here, the right shield doesn't cover everything. We see his legs. We start shooting with 2 people at him. And the other guy here. And before the cluster strike ends, they are done so. That right shielder had a self-revive, pretty sure. And then, of course, this is what stays over. So let's break that down a little bit further. We're going to use the train track as an example. This is the area that I mentioned, by the way, if you can see it. This is where you can push up. And again, most of that comes with map knowledge, and being able, well, not necessarily map knowledge. Most people, if they play enough, they will know exactly each spot in the map. Basically, it's the mental ability to go inside your head and walk around in the map inside your head. That's what will allow you to be able to make such predictions. And that's a natural ability that we humans have. We are visual and spatial creatures. And of course, plate refresh. Well, yeah, so as you can see here, even I don't know if it's probably not seeable, but these rocks most likely you can't climb on, and if you are experienced enough, it's almost impossible to. You basically know that climbing rocks is a given, a bad thing. So now basically, 1 guy is left against 3 guys who have a better position than him, and he only has the yellow zone and everything. That's his part, but we are looking over it. So basically, unless he's like hiding inside this little garage, there's like an entranceway over here. This, if he laid behind this thing, I would see him. So, in essence, it's his yellow zone. But since we have complete cover, he has this little thing on the mini map, and he has under the bridge. That's all he has. He's basically backed off in a corner, and we 3 hold the power position. Now he can shoot at me, and as soon as he does that, everybody watches me. Well, my teammates watch me. And of course, a deployable cover for good measures. The game is almost over, so might as well use it. But, extra cover always helps. That's if you're caught in a bad position, deployable shield is your friend. That allows you to create an extra position in the cover. So, excuse me. One more thing. So this thing is most likely best already. This and under the bridge. That's what the position he has. We have to be fair. And again, this is not to say, oh, look at me, whoa, I'm so fucking fantastic. No, simple shapes allow you to work with that. Like that's what I do when in game. Of course, can't really relay my thoughts, but it's like We have captured this part of circle. We have captured this part of circle. We have captured this part of circle. We have captured this. We have captured this. We have captured this. And then you work your way up one step at a time. What some people do is they start here and then they're like, oh, I heard shots across dinges, so across the circle. So they instantly go like that. Nope, bad thing. We gotta work the edges. Curves are important. Think about the curves. Always think about the curves. Or like this, or like, okay, I can't really draw it. It's like an eye shape, That's like the 4 paths that you have to cover if you want to cross the circle. If you don't do that, well, there's gonna be one guy laying in a bush waiting to kill you. And of course, here we are patiently looking. And of course, these options are dwindling because he's either at the rock, and I still have 2 C4. Have fun trying to hit a guy who's up on top with C4 and you can't see him. It's impossible to cover to counter. That's a little bit what makes Warzone more cheesy and less enjoyable, you could say. But Robin is apparently under us and he hasn't spotted me yet, which is of course the big reveal. If you've seen the gameplay, you know exactly where he is. Cheeky C4, he's not there, so we know. I know basically there's only one place he can be. Peekaboo. And of course, quick kill and easy victory. So, in essence, what have we learned? Position. Position is important. Everything else comes secondary. Shooting, communication, whatever. Is cover your position. Everything else is, goes a lot smoother. Always. That's the nature of a battle royale. It's not like CSGO where you're forced to shoot, although you could argue that in CSGO, for example, position is also more important than shooting. But in this case, since the map is dynamic and people can be all at once, then of course you need to know that position is the key. If we came in time, there could have been 10 other people here. There could have been 5 different squads fighting here, but it didn't. At this point in the game, there's 13 people left. That chopper guys could take our circle. Now, of course, we know, we got the superior circle because we know, thanks to the Recon contracts, and doing 2 or 3 Recon tracks will allow you to get a superior position. And if there's one building left in the zone, if you've done 3 Recon contracts, you can just literally camp in that building, put proximity mines everywhere, a trophy system, and just hold every single angle. That's what you could do. I mean, and it's a very efficient strategy to win. I've had one of those where basically we were camping in a building and I think everybody only had 1 kill. Now, it's not a very satisfaction win if you do that too often, but if you never won before, that's a good way to start. Like these guys, completely caught in the open. That's a bad position. This, of us, was a bad position. We didn't get sniped at. There was nobody looking at us. So, in theory, we could have been punished real hard for being here. But we did. So, sometimes God or whatever you believe in is guiding a little bit. And sometimes that's needed in order to survive. But, I just want to make clear, position is key. Like that guy here, for example, sniped in the open of the airstrip. If that happens, you're done for. So it's better to do some, preemptive movement and start sliding and zigzagging and whatnot. High ground, super important. High ground, have enough resources, because if you have to give up your position to get plates or ammo or whatever, bad idea. And of course, be prepared. And I would even say that most likely the best of the best are the ones that go for the recons and basically play the zone all the time, not going for kills. So if you are struggling with wins, position is the key. That's basically how you overcome inferior shooting mechanics. So that's about, like this, for example, this exact position, we basically have to cross from here to here. So this whole yellow arrow, That's a bad idea in an open position. You don't want to do that. Zigzagging is best. It takes longer, but if you can, like, if instead of me going straight to the buy station, I'm going like to these rocks in case that I get sniped. You know, I have a rock to lay down behind, which gives me some breathing room. And a good position, the better the position, the more breathing room you have. And breathing room allows you to make mistakes. And the only thing you have to make sure is that if you make a mistake, despite not being punished for it, is that like, oh, let's focus again. Let's, you know, watch the other side of the hill for a second. That's something we really did good. And again, a bad position. I got caught here. Caught. At this exact position as we talked earlier about. But that's okay. Like, despite me having one mistake, my team was there. I won the gulag. I got a second chance, so that's all good. Man, that C4. Ooh, C4 is a little bit too broken at the moment, so make sure you use a lot of it, at least compared to the other lethals. So that's about it. I think I made one thing very clear: that position is powerful, very important. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this strategy session, another Warzone strategy session. I've absolutely loved doing these. There's always a ton to learn, even for myself, from a simple game like this. And again, like, if you keep all these things in mind, next time, you know, they won't do as much, but the next time after that, and the next time after that, if you get trained in thinking like this and in being, you know, playing like this, where basically you prioritize strategy and position over simply let's go kill bruh, you will win so much more, and you will enjoy the game also so much more. So I'm Whelsko. I have done another Warzone strategy session with you. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you hopefully in the next one. Cheers.